Hello and welcome to today's FIFA World Cup post-match analysis session using skill corner tracking data. We are going to focus on the Netherlands match against Morocco. And when we look into the FIFA post-match summary report, we see that for the Netherlands, 3-4-3 has been reported as their starting lineup formation, and for Morocco, they had 4-2-3-1. So the tracking data that we have access to through Skill Corner gives us the coordinates of the players and the ball 10 frames per second. As you can see on the animation shown on the right side, this is, let's say, after Morocco scored the equalizer, and you can clearly see that the Dutch players in orange, they are playing in a back five, and you can maybe see that Morocco is still going forward with the ball position and maybe trying to even finish the match within the 90 minutes. What else we can say here is that you see the green area showing the TV view, and it's clear that the players who are not within this view basically need to have a post-processing by Skill Corner to fill in their coordinates. So we are going to use the method documented in my PhD thesis to see what we can learn about each team's formation and players' positions and compare that to what we saw in the FIFA post-match report. So in summary, for each team, we look for the 10 outfield players, impose a graph, as you can see on the left side, and then the color, the nodes of this graph with the vertical colors and horizontal colors. And these two, let's say, color combinations tell you what is the momentary tactical position of a player of interest. For example, the player who has been colored dark blue in the upper half semicircle and light green in the lower half, that translates to him being in the back line in the right center channel, so or right center back. So the vertical colors we have are from dark blue to dark red, from the back line to the front line, and from dark brown to the dark green for the left to the right, let's say horizontal channels, and we basically have 25 possibilities for the tactical positions. So we can pick a player, here number 2 from Morocco. We just go over all the in-play frames in the tracking data. For each frame, he basically can occupy one of these 25 possibilities. So in the end, we can just compute what percentage of the match time we saw him basically operating from any of these cells. As you can see, he was around 21%, 22% in the right back, 15% right wing back, 17% right midfielder, 14.5% right wing forward and 13% right forward. But also you can see he was also in other cells. So he shows a really interesting profile for a right back, a very high versatile player. And when we have this visualization, the 5x5 probability matrix, which we call a position map, we can just arrange them according to the layout that, for example, FIFA has suggested. So when we look into only the in-position moments and have it as a 4-2-3-1 according to FIFA, this is the picture we end up with. I think it's really interesting to see whether that 4-2-3-1 can summarize and capture what Morocco did in position. I think it's maybe interesting to highlight like number 2 in position. Maybe we can argue that he was not really the right back. He was mainly operating really as a player on the front line. So maybe it's better that we move his position map from the back line to here to the attacking midfield or even midfield line. So maybe we can say with that change, Morocco was mainly maybe with a 3-2-4-1 even, and that's something that can be said about that. Let's just compare the wingers of Morocco, also in this case number 10 and number 23. You can say that number 10 was the player who was coming inside more compared to number 22, who was more dropping back. So you can also find these asymmetric cases. And another interesting case, number 8 from Morocco, you can see the, let's say, high probability map you can see for him. And he was just really jumping and popping up in different positions. And probably if that's also what you noticed when you saw the game. So out of position, I think the picture becomes different for Morocco. You can see that really the back four, Hakimi, who was really on the front line in position, out of position, he was really sticking to the right back. So the back four, then the two double pivots, you can say that number 6 was more defending than the number 24. And number 23, I think interesting for the winger compared to number 10, he was dropping more to the back line, maybe to help in the left side. And number 8 was going really to the front line, and number 11, we can argue that he was playing more to the right. So maybe we can say 4-2-4, something like that can capture better what Morocco did out of position. But still, it's not that easy because of the high probability you can see for number 23. So you can even have an argument for a 4, let's say 3-3. Okay, in position, now looking for the Dutch team. Yeah, I think it's clear that maybe the 3-4-3 can be a good choice to use the back three clear. The 4 midfielders, you can say even that number 22 was playing really high versatile position or role compared to the number 15. Still both, let's say, wing backs really going up and down, at least in position. Number 21 was playing, let's say, more defensive than number 8 as one of the double pivots. And I think more or less the front three, we can agree on them. I think what you can see just for number 24, he was just dropping more compared to number 11. Out of position for the Netherlands, the picture changes from 3-4-3, so I think it's clear that we need to say they were playing in a back five out of position. Number 22 was really sticking to the right back. Number 15 is still in the left back, but still he was going also up. And I think it's interesting to see that number 11 and 24, they were dropping back. So it was maybe even we can say it was a 3-4-2-1, where number 19 was really staying as a lone striker out of position. So what we saw was just using the position maps of the starting players for each team in each match phase. But we know that this game went to the, let's say, extra time, 120 minutes, and later penalties. Can we say something about how that, let's say, formation has evolved around the game, whether they stayed in one formation or they changed? To answer that question, we are going to go back to this coloring scheme. We have introduced the vertical and horizontal ones. And for each player, in each in-play frame, you have a pair of colors. And you can just visualize the time series of that. You can see for number 21 from the Netherlands, if you have the vertical colors shown on the upper half row and the horizontal colors on the lower half row, it gives you a clear picture that he was the player operating from the midfield and defensive midfield vertically. And when it comes to the horizontal level, he was more on the, let's say, left central. So you can say left center midfield, left defensive midfield was the position that Frankie de Jong was occupying for the Netherlands. You can see there is a gap in this time series. This is the moment the Dutch team makes the first round of the substitutions. And you can compare number 21 before and after that. It comes to the second round of the substitutions. Still, you can also see that there are sometimes he really drops to the back line, dark blue, but there are really few. And most of the time, maybe we can say light blue and gray for the vertical level. And it comes to the other substitution where they are basically taking number 21 out, as shown with this dot inside the gap, and number 3 comes in as a replacement. Here we can maybe say that number 3, of course, he was for a short period of time on the pitch, but he was playing more, let's say, defensive. Just the number of light blue that you can see for him was the proportion was higher. Okay, now we can just stack all these visualizations for the starting 10 players from the Netherlands, excluding the goalkeeper, of course, and just have the full view, let's say, in a big picture where you can also see the potential substitutions shown on the right side. So you have the half time, you have the full time, but also the match went to the extra time. So you have the first half of the extra time and then the second half. You see there are clocks. These are the potential stoppage moments, like the hydration break. You see there are some substitution signs on top of the picture. These are the moments that Morocco made substitution. And just looking into this picture, I think it's clear to say that maybe overall 5-2-3 can capture what Netherlands did. We saw that in position and out of position, the picture was different, but given that maybe the majority of the time the Dutch team didn't have the ball, so the out of position picture we saw before the 5-2-3 will, let's say, significantly contribute to the overall picture we see for the Netherlands. Number 22, the right back, number 15, the left back, and let's say the 3 center backs you can see for the Dutch team. I think it's interesting to see that number 22 was also going to the front line, what we saw, and the same for number 15, but 22 was, let's say, more offensive at least. And it comes to the halftime. And maybe after the halftime, you can see number 15 goes less offensive than number 22. And then it comes to the first round of the substitutions. And after that, you can say maybe that number 22 was even more defensive. So let's say the right and left wing backs really stayed in the back line. Okay, let's see what you can say about their defensive midfield line. Number 21 and number 8, where we saw that number 21 was playing more defensive than number 8. So that's the double pivot that they had, and then the front 3. 24 to the right, 11 to the left, and 19 the lone striker. When it comes to the substitutions, I think we can say that they were just bringing fresh leg. They stick to the 5-2-3 formation. The first round of the substitution, number 5 is going out, and number 20 is coming in. The left center back comes for another left center back. And at the same time, you see number 19 going out and number 9 coming in, just center forward for another center forward. In the second round of the substitutions, they are taking a left back for another left back, and let's say one of the double pivots for another one. And we are not using the player names to say who is the left back or right back. We are really focusing only on the colors that we have inferred for the vertical and horizontal levels. The next round, taking the other double pivot, bringing another one, just changing the, let's say, the 2 double pivots over the match time, and comes to the last substitution, taking the left wing and replacing it with another one. So 5-2-3, Netherlands started the match, stayed in the same formation until the end. They didn't change with the substitutions, just fresh leg, and they made it to the penalties. How is the picture for Morocco? I think you can see here that maybe there are a bit more adjustments, but overall the formation we can argue stayed 4-2-4 for Morocco. And You see number 2, the right back, who was really sometimes, maybe even you can clearly see after the second half started, he was going to the front line, and he was doing that less in the first half. And you can also see that he was also doing the same when it comes to the extra time. So even maybe we can argue that in these moments, Morocco was even with the 5 players on the front line, because number 2 was really overlapping there with the number 10, the other player who they had on that right channel. So number 14, the right center back, 18, left center back, 3, the left back. That's at least the case until the halftime. Number 6 and 24, you can say the double pivots, where 6 was playing more defensive, clearly the more light blue color for him than number 24. But I think it's interesting for number 24 to see that there are moments that he was dark blue, there are moments that he was red, so he was really versatile. That's what you can pick here. Number 10, the right wing, clear dark red, dark green for him. Number 23, the left wing, but we saw that he was more defensive, and that's also, you can see from the colors, there is more gray, there is more, you can clearly see that blue and light blue, and that's not what you saw for number 10. Number 11, Saibari, he was the striker. He was not really staying always in the center. He was going to the left, going to the right. And number 8, you can see on the front line in the beginning of the match, and you can argue that maybe in the second half he was dropping more back, and even from left going to the right. So I think it was also difficult to say what was his position, whether he was attacking midfield or he was just jumping as a second, as a forward player, as a pair for number 11. Going to the substitutions, in the first round of the substitutions, Morocco brought number 26, so taking the left center back out, bringing in a left back. And that's why the current left back, Masroui, is moving to fill in that space that is basically made empty by number 18. So just making some rotation changes in the back line. At the second round of the substitutions, Morocco takes number 6 out, brings in number 15, so another defensive midfield for one that started the match, and then bringing in number 16 for Brahim Diaz, a right wing for another right wing. And yeah, when it goes, let's say, to the next round of the substitutions, it's interesting to see that number 7 is coming in to replace number 23, so a left winger for another left winger, and also bringing in number 9 as a replacement for number 8. And here I think you can clearly see that this is still the moment that Morocco is 1-0 behind. So this number 8, whom we said, we can maybe say he was the attacking midfielder, he's taken out, and number 9 really comes, who was really on the front line, majority dark red for him. So the front 4 is clear, but also we saw that number 2 was also joining them from time to time. And I think what we can here interestingly see that Morocco ended the full time with these 5 substitutions that they made. While they could have also had another round of the substitution or making more changes during the extra time, they didn't do that. They continued until the end of the match, maybe with this 4-4, and could win the match in the penalties. Looking into the match segments, what we introduced in, let's say, the chapter 5 of my PhD thesis, you can see that when we look into the first segment until 70 minutes, when there was the first round of the substitutions, the picture for each team, you can see a number, let's say, the kind of the 4 in the backline for Morocco, the 2 double pivots, and these 4 players where we saw that number 8, it was a bit difficult to say he was really on the front line or the attacking midfield. But I think the picture is just much clearer for the Dutch team, the back 5, the 2 double pivots, and the front 3. So this is not average location, this is weighted averages, and to just know the details, you can check the chapter 5. This is what we called a position movement diagram. And then the second round, or second, let's say, match segment, we have much shorter, because in the second half there are just many more substitutions, so the time intervals get shorter. Here you can say the back 4 for the Morocco, 2 double pivots, and the front 4, and back 5, 2 double pivots, and front 3 for the Dutch team is still more or less the same. So I think this match at least draw a lot of criticism for the Dutch head coach. You can watch the post-match press conference, where the Dutch reporters asked the coach why did he choose to play a back 5, and there was a long time that he didn't play in that formation and that structure. So he replied that he would do it again, and probably they wouldn't have asked him if they wouldn't concede a late goal and the match wouldn't go to the extra and penalties. So here is the text we have from The Guardian. Ronald Koeman came under fire for selecting a 5-man backline. You can think whatever you want, whatever you like, but we gave away much less against a team that was stronger than group stage opponents, Sweden and Tunisia. So that was his answer, so that he would do it again. And I think it's interesting to see that this was the first question asked from the Moroccan head coach in the post-match interview. And here is the text. The Morocco head coach said, "We were taken aback by their formation." So they were surprised by that. When we saw it, we knew they wanted to defend in a low block. that's not usually how they play, and we had to adapt. So the day after the match, basically the Dutch head coach resigned because of just not winning this match for the Netherlands. I think that's it. And for our next post-match analysis session, we are going to focus on France, let's say, win against Sweden. And thanks for your attention.